samadhi, and I was praying, Prabhupada, what can I do for her? What can I do for her? And I just prayed, take her, because she only wants to be with you, and here she's suffering, and I can't stop her suffering anymore. I can't make her comfortable anymore. I can't even make her laugh anymore. There's nothing more I can do. Please take her, take her. And even if this is offensive, I don't care. I'll take that offense. I just want her relieved from her suffering. So I went to the room, and she was unconscious. She was not responding at all. And there were a couple of Bengalis in there testing her heart and seeing, trying to give her some Horlicks and some milk, and she wasn't responding. She was breathing kind of deep. And when I came in, they just all shook their heads and they were crying, and they walked out, and they left me alone again in the room. And I was sitting there, and she was kind of on the edge of the bed, like kind of slumped over, but yet, and I sat next to her, and I was kind of like rubbing her back a little bit, and I was chanting japa with the other hand. I'm going Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and I'm thinking what to do. And I see her fingers move. When I'm chanting japa, her fingers were moving like japa, even though she was very slender, and I thought, she can hear me. So then I asked her, Pishima, in my broken Bengali that she understood, you need to go to the bathroom. Do you need water? Do you need milk? What, can I do anything for you? No answer. Then I said, okay, but she can hear. So I put on Prabhupada's tape of Nitai Pada Kamala, because that was our relationship. I put that tape on. And then I went up to her and I said, Pishima, Prabhupada Shuno? You hear Prabhupada? That's broken Bengali for anyone who wants to know, but it means, do you hear Prabhupada? And Pishima went, huh? And I went, oh my God, that's all she wants. That's all she wants now. So again, every now and then I'd go up to her. I put her in the bed with lots of pillows and tried to make her as comfortable as I could, put the mosquito net around, and I just kept playing Prabhupada's CD. And every once in a while I'd go up to her and hold her and say, Pishima, you need anything, water, bathroom, anything, repeating, and no answer. And then I'd say, Prabhupada Shuno? Huh. Every time. It was like several times through that day. And then in the evening, the devotees, the Bengali devotees had called her relatives and called because they realized this is going to be the last days or night. And they called them all. So they all came in the room, and someone brought all the little brahmachar, the guru coolies in the room, and they were doing a loud kirtan. They started jumping up and down, and the Bengalis were howling and crying and banging. I mean, it was like this from nothing, of just Prabhupada singing on the CD all day, to this raucous, kind of carnival almost, and I thought, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem like what she would want. She needs to be comfortable and peaceful. So I ran outside, and I was trying to look for someone, and I just ran into Nitai Chand, who was this big sannyasi everyone's afraid of him. And I said to him, no one talks to him like this, but I said, you have to go in Prabhupada's room and you have to tell everyone to sit down and be quiet. I said, kirtan can go on, but it should be more subdued. In my passion, I just blurred, and he went, okay, and he ran, and I thought, whoa, I didn't expect that, but he did. He went in and he said, Bashun, sit down, everyone quiet, sat down, and then kirtan went on nicely. The Bengalis quieted down. I was holding her hand on one side. Her son, youngest son, was holding her hand on the other side, and he kind of had his head down and he's sobbing. And some of the other relatives were around, and I called the Bengali lady who was very sweet. Marari Haridas's wife, Bhakti Ma. I asked her to please come and hold her shoulder, because I said she also wants devotees near her holding her. And so, I held her hand, she held her shoulder, the son was on the other side, people were all around, and we were all chanting nicely, and then her eyes started fluttering, her mouth started moving, and I almost thought that she was going to say something, and I thought, maybe she's going to be all right, I didn't know, and I thought, maybe she's going to say something, maybe she needs something. So I went very close in that mood of, whatever she needs, I want to give this. And I went very close to her face, and she just went, Hare, 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 Ha. And that was it. And stillness. And I I just stood there for a second and I thought, oh my God, that was her last breath. Was it? And I wasn't sure, and I was like, that was her last breath. And right away I saw this with my mind's eye. I can say with my mind's eye, I saw this vision of her actually starting to move up. But it was like the subtle body moving up. Just like in films, when you see an ethereal see-through body, the physical body is still lying there, but her ethereal body, I actually saw her whole body raising up like this, her eyes starting to open, and she was looking up at the corner of the room, and she started raising her hand, and I actually had to move out of the way. This vision was so profound that I was in her way because I was right in front of her, and she started raising up her arm, and she's looking up, and I actually moved aside. I was still holding the other hand. I moved aside, and she went like this, and she's looking up at the corner of the room, and Prabhupada is coming down with a big smile on his face, and he has his hand out in the same way. And he came down, and they held hands, and he was also ethereal, like see-through, but it was Prabhupada as we know him. And he came down with a smile on his face, and she looked at him, and they smiled, and they were holding hands, and they started kind of like I could see their backs kind of floating up to the corner of the room. And I'm looking, I remember my eyes were moving. I remember that. Physically, my eyes were actually moving into this vision. And I saw them moving into the corner of the room, and then they both turned around, and they went with a big smile when their eyebrows, both of them, they both turned inwards and went like this, like, everyone's coming. Come on. We're all going to go. And then they disappeared. And the first thing I thought was, they left me here. They left me here. And I was thinking, oh, you know, I wanted to go with them. They left me here. And then I looked down and I realized I'm still holding her hand, but she's not here anymore. And I could feel the difference. I could feel the difference of the energy, because while she was still there in her body, I was praying that whatever, I was praying for her that, oh, Prabhupada, Krishna, whatever youthful energy I have, whatever strength I have, whatever goodness or piety or anything that I have, let her have it now. Give it to her, because she needs it now. You know, give her this strength and comfort, whatever. And I was giving her everything I had from inside my heart. And when it stopped, I realized that it had been coming back to me. Like, it's like after the fact, you realize something. And after the fact, after she had left, when I looked down at her, I'm still holding her hand. But now it's not just my energy was going into her, but it had been coming back, and she was giving me so much. And I realized that. And I realized that it had stopped now, because she was with Prabhupada where she wanted to be, and she was happy. And a little later on, her and my her relatives, lady relatives, and myself, we had to put fresh sari, fresh tilak, and I helped them. And then everyone came in for another darshan, put flower petals around, and we're offering prayers. And I was standing there looking at her, and I was thinking, now she looks effulgent. Before, earlier in the day, she looked like a dried up prune just withering away, and I was like, how can I help her? But now she was actually, I mean, there was like light coming from her body. It wasn't just like bright-faced, it was effulgence. And I said to myself, I said, she's glowing. And we don't use that word. As devotees, we say she's effulgent or she's bright-faced. I said, she's glowing. And then I went like this to him. I said, no, Ananga, now you're just hallucinating. None of this can be true. Now you're just hallucinating. Something's going wrong here. It's too much emotional things going on. I thought I was hallucinating. As soon as I thought that, it was either Pankajanari or Jananivas, one of the twins, pujaris, and another pujari had walked in right as soon as I went like this and said, I'm hallucinating. They walked in, and whoever it was, the pujari, said, she's glowing, to the other pujari. And they walked right in front of me and said that, and I thought, Krishna let me hear that for a reason. because I was just doubting, no, she can't be glowing. This can't be true. Now, none of that could have been true. It's my imagination. And as soon as they walked in, they said, she's glowing. They used the same word. And I said, oh, okay, she is glowing. If that's true, it's all true.